Yo, what's up, guys? I had this video where I talked about Dorothy being really shit. This one over here. Now we have Dorothy, 55. We found her. She is so bad. She literally is so fucking bad. And then decided to make her even worse of not killing the enemy team. She kills your team. And because of that, a friend of mine said, like, yo, do you want to play around with Dorothy? Let's see how much damage she does. He has a pretty good set on her. He is not that much of an arena player, so doesn't have all of the units I would like to compare her to, like a Christina. He does have a Lee I can test it against. Of course, he has like Lucian and those kind of units, Akaki. Let's see how much damage he can dish out, because it's not the highest of attack set, but it is a high crit damage set. Also, if you haven't yet, I'm trying to reach the 50k subscribers this year, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because not everyone is subscribed, according to these numbers. So please do that. So let's get into the actual testing. Where can you use Dorothy? Well, technically any kind of cleave, but since she is not the best of damage cleavers, we're not that high rank right now. So we're actually going to try out it against a few teams. And technically, I would say this is one of the highest damage setups you can get. To be honest, I don't like Gemini that much, but it is a decent option of a armor break and a strip. Keep in mind, we're kind of on the lower ranks right now. So let's see how much damage this skill actually dishes out. So destroy some of your own team. We get 70, 80k. So actually not too bad damage, I guess. Well, then again, keep in mind we have a Deborah in here, so that it does increase the damage. Plus, we're at a pretty low rank right now. So that's actually not that bad of damage, like 80k. That's pretty hard of a hitter in general. Issue is you do have to land armor break for it. It is a pretty decent set. And the moment you don't land armor break, this team pretty much does absolutely fucking no damage. Let's see how good she is for like cleanups, because sometimes things tend to go wrong in arena offense. Your Galleon doesn't land, your whatever unit doesn't land. So is this a decent unit that can still clear stuff? It's actually not that bad of an S2, to be honest, for cleaning up shit. So is she all that bad? Well, keep in mind we're still in pretty lower ranks, and I think this rune quality should be able to clear most of it in these ranks. Should we just do another one? Yeah, that doesn't do all too much. That doesn't do all too much. Hey, we even lose with this in lower ranks. Yeah, great unit, great unit. But maybe because armor break missed. Would have Grogan been able to clear that up? Yeah. Would have Zyros been able to reset everything and then do his kind of stuff? Yeah. Would have Kaki been better in a 1v whatever solo situation than that? Yeah. So that's also the important thing about a unit. Like, rather than just your perfect scenario of like, okay, can I clear everything if everything goes right? Because pretty much most things can clear everything if everything goes right. It's not that different. But let's see if we have... So we are literally looking at pretty low rank. So I'm actually going to hit this guy's own defense, because I'm on the account of Krabba. This is not my account. Thank you, Krabba, for owning your account, by the way. So his defense is quite a bit more tanky than the other things we were just hitting. We have to keep in mind, I'm going to remove the Molly. Okay, how much damage can we dish out on this S3 on a tanky Abellio? 90Ks. Yo, this unit is damage, actually. What the fuck? That's actually a lot of damage. Wait, let's compare that. It's a pretty good Kaki. It has a lot of defense. I like that. Mine has just about like a few hundred more attack, but this one does have a lot of defense. So we're looking at 95Ks on Abellio to actually clean up the whole thing. 40. Well, it was a glancing hit though, but it did like 60. Whereas Dorothy hit like 94 on this unit as well. So wait, Dorothy damage is actually pretty fucking high. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, I'm somewhat amazed by that unit. Like, okay, sure, again, I'm using it in the most way where you have like the highest damage potential, like maybe a Grogan on that kind of set would have done like similar damage. Dorothy actually seems like, let's say you go for your typical team, which I used to run with, or I have showcased before. If you would bring a team like this, and you would have to make her will, of course, I think it would actually be a very good in slot for doing that. Too bad that the resistance lead is not going to help you anything. But where I use, for example, the Bale, or where I use Christina in other videos, she can actually probably do better. Like, this account doesn't have those 2 units, if I'm not mistaken. Which, oh, it does have a Bale. Wait, is the Bale max skilled? It is not max skill, but I actually want to set this exact same set on Bale. We have to keep in mind that it will do less damage because of no skill ups. But therefore, you can actually test in like an equal scenario of like, okay, what kind of hit would it do? You do have to keep in mind that this set, does it actually... Oh, no, wait, wrong Bale. It is Bale, but different Bale. This unit actually has no glancing or beneficial effect or some bullshit on the S3, so it will always crit. So it is somewhat less of a straight comparison because you can go for lower crit rates. We are missing about 25% damage. Not sure if it's multiplicative or additive to that extent, but let's see. I would say we have to at least hit like 80k-ish to get even to what Dorothy did. So we're looking at like 94k for what we did on this Carnal before. Let's see how much we do right now. 69. Like that number. But that is a lot lower number than I expected. So I'm not sure if you would add 25% damage. Actually, let me know in the comments, because I'm used to everything having skilled up, so I'm not even sure if it's multiplicative or additive or whatever. Some people say, like, yeah, skill ups just add, like, what, 4 or 5k extra damage on this. Some would say, like, yo, you actually take the 69k, you add 25%, which is, can't do the math, but then you're closer to 90 as well. So let me know in the comments what it is on that one, because I'm just way too used with everything skill ups. But so even if you add the 69, wait, let me actually do the 69 and put that as a multiplier of 25. You would do 86k, so that's still 10k less than Dorothy did on the exact same set. So Dorothy probably is one of the highest damage outputs on her S3, which I'm actually somewhat surprised about. She's actually a pretty decent cleaver in that case. So let me put her on a speedy set and then use her in a speed comp. And let's see if it's still worth it like that. I don't think as much, because you have other options that are probably better, like a Poseidon, like because it cannot glance, but like a Leia, because it's just way more damage. But let's actually compare her to like a Leia in a similar setup. And how much damage does it do if she has one of those speed teams, or she's placed in one of those speed teams that I used to use for quite a bunch of things, with mainly Grogan over here or Poseidon over there. And I'll actually switch it out to a Leia later. So in this case, let's see how much damage we do on the Carnal. We do about 40k damage. So that is decent, but not good enough to kill anything like this. Then again, you wouldn't really use this kind of team exactly against a full team that you 100% know that you would outspeed. Wait, no, I actually have to remove some of the speed and put somewhat more crit rate. And I'm actually going to trade 14 for 14 if I'll be able to. Not exactly, but pretty close, just for the idea. So we'll lose some speed and we add the extra crit rate, and that's just trading off what kind of awakening they have in both. So with artifacts, let's see the damage. 29k, so that's about 18k more than what Dorothy did. But then you have to keep in mind that Leia is probably best in slot for this kind of offense, because she just scales with the speed buff and all of that kind of good stuff. So for that reason, she's probably the best to clear out those kind of defenses in a speed setup. But Dorothy doing about 66% of the damage. Not that much, but if I would use Dorothy, I would 100% use Dorothy in the setup where you just use her as a nuker, probably with a Leo. So I would recommend to use Dorothy in either a setup like this, with the full rage set that we had earlier, or in a setup like something similar like this. However, you are betting on that all of your armor breaks land, because the clear up mechanic of Dorothy is kind of weak. And I think her S3, if she should do something like ignore glancing, ignore something of an extra effect, I think she would be very good, because I wouldn't be surprised if you compare this to a Christina. Maybe some owners that have a Christina and Dorothy can let me know in the comments. I think Dorothy has potentially the highest damage on S3. So that makes her somewhat interesting and actually better than I thought. She is not all that bad, to be honest. She's actually better than I expected. Because, once again, let's verify the actual damage, setting her own rage set back. And going for the skills. Okay, we didn't land on that one, but that is fine. We mainly want to see the damage on the Carnal. Damage on the Carnal is going to be 92k. and 91k on the Abelio over here. That's very high damage. That's actually very high damage to the point I would say you're kind of overkilling stuff. Like even doing 29k non-critter on this unit for having like 264 crit damage, that is actually, I'm legit impressed about the damage of her. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So, is she good? No. Is she potentially highest damage on the S3? Yes, but since she doesn't do anything extra, it is still useless. Like, the whole mechanic of destroying HP is still somewhat useless. So, she needs something extra to be actually one of the better cleavers. But if I would have her, I would definitely use her, and I would use her where I use the Bale in the Leo team, or I have been using like Christina's in the Leo team. But I would definitely use her. I'm actually, honestly, kind of surprised how much damage she does. I'm not gonna lie. So she's actually, if I remake the tier list right now, I would put her 1 or 2 tiers higher than the full-on meme team because she's actually best in slot for something, which I was very surprised about. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So Robert, thanks for letting me test this. He probably is also surprised about that result. I think most people that have Dorothy are going to be surprised about this result. But therefore, it's somewhat interesting to just test the unit. One person mentioned it in the comments saying like, okay, you can say that all of your units are 70 plus in the tier list because you made them work. Whereas if other people would have them and they didn't try them out, they wouldn't make them work, they wouldn't use them, and you put them lower in the tier list and then you go based off their feeling. So your units are actually bound to be higher in the tier list because I just try to be creative, try to fit some teams, try to fit something, try them this build, that build, this team, that team. So actually, LDs that were lower on the tier list might actually be a lot better, but people just didn't really try them or gave them the effort. They just heard like either for me or someone else saying like, hey, your unit is shit. They don't even delve them on it. They don't give it a try. They don't do anything. They just put it straight to storage. Whereas your Debate actually might be good in a siege offense. Your Trinity actually might be good as a arena offense cleaver in a specific team. Your Dorothy might actually be the strongest nuker in the game. So we all learned something new today. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and see you in the next one.